Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 24th of September. So we are moving into the territory of Fed reports coming out, Fed statements coming out on Wednesday. So leading into that, what's going to happen with the euro? Well, really we're still in this upward trend, and it's still sitting there with high lows, high highs. Now I could pop the trend line on here. It depends if we want it drawn, but regardless here, I mean, if you draw it from the bottom, it's going to be even more stuck out most likely. But for now, we're back to support on those prior highs. So just looking, so as I said, still got the high lows, higher highs. Okay, in the shorter time frame, well, that's been broken somewhat. Just actually, I said it's come back to the weekly pivot, but it's just marginally short of this. Now we've got the daily pivot above. I'm still hanging in there with a bullish sort of one eye on the bullish side of things here, and it could still shove up. Now as I say, untouched weekly pivot, it may pop down to that, and I've just got to watch this morning, see how this reacts. If we get a decent bounce, or even if we start seeing a proper break to the upside, well, daily pivot may have it. We may even see more. We haven't actually hit the S1 hit yet. That in itself was also a bit of a target. So if these levels get hit, I'll look for some support and see if it gives me any signs of a reversal. If it starts breaking through them quite quickly, well, okay, I'll be watching that down towards the 200, although not necessarily all in one day. It'll have already done a decent range by the time it gets down towards the S2, but we'll see. As I said, my favoured way is to the upside, but just got to wait post 8 o'clock to see how things shape up there. If it doesn't shape up, I won't be in it. Pound. Well, it's interesting here that I'm looking across the retail traders. 81% of them are starting to get long, should I say. It doesn't leave a lot more, does it? Are we going to see a little short squeeze here before we see the daily and weekly pivot hit? Well, maybe not. We only need one slight positive remark to see this bounce, but that was, looking back, you see this huge red bar, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, closed day down this year. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we had a day up low. We've had some pretty chunky up days, but probably the biggest down day this year in one foul swoop there. But where to? It has got the daily 21 underneath. I was looking at that Friday, wondering if that would come down to that. It hasn't yet. It may still do that and give a little bit of a squeeze onto the shorts and actually create some of the buying potential. Shorts, the longs even squeeze on the long positions. So if it starts breaking down back a bit further south, it may just as I say, create some movement. Not a great fan of the upside on it at the moment, but as I said, so statistically we've got the pivot sitting there, and I'm sort of looking at them thinking, well, it may just run up to those. Even if it runs up to those and then rolls over, as I've been saying for a long time, there's a lot of risk in the pound, with potential chitter chatter coming from Europe or anywhere else. Dollar yen, shooting star into Fridays there. Has it got further upside potential? Possibly. I'm still wondering whether we'll see a move back towards the absolute highs, but that did just literally catch the bodies. I think I talked about that on Friday. It just ran into the bodies of the prior highs there and sold off. Let's have a look through the time frames here, and the weekly pivots below. It would still be in an upward trend if it comes down. Even if it comes down to that pivot, the only thing is it does start shaping the price action here as the lower highs, lower lows sort of picture, but could find support off that. There's a daily S1 and the weekly pivot there. Now if it overruns a little bit, certainly a possibility. You've got the 34 below, which has been tested before, maybe even the 50. So if we see any strengthening of this dollar yen, there's the targets below. what with the Fed report coming out on Wednesday, we could see all sorts, to be fair. Okay, Aussie dollar. So it ran into its 50. I know one person will be very happy with the reaction to it had, although it didn't close that far away from it in the end on Friday. But so today it's already down, heading towards the weekly pivot here at the moment, and well, pretty reasonable chance it could do that and yet still reverse and continue its original path there. There's a good correlation across a lot of these markets, the European markets and the Australian market at the moment here. This has put lower highs, lower lows. It had a bit of a gap in there. It's pretty much filled the gap through the early session there and well, sold off. So where to? Well, statistically the S2s have got less chance of being hit than an S1 for example, but it might just come down to there towards that weekly pivot, and well, if it does, perhaps there'll be a bounce coming from that. Any bigger moves down on the downside, well, the 200 still sort of sitting around that area, but we've got the 34 coming up and the 50, although both have been tested before, so no guarantees they will hold, but they are facing upwards. A strong old angle there, decent angle. Canadian dollar softening here as well, all correlated, pushing towards that weekly pivot at the moment, and well, you could see a similar picture here in the inverted picture in terms of it running up to that weekly pivot, and maybe it will roll over. I haven't read up on the OPEC meetings, so I'll talk about that in the weekly update later today. But for now, looks like it's got the potential to pitch up towards that weekly pivot. If it does, that may be a turning point. If it's just left alone, well, of course it becomes a target at some point. But trend is certainly at the moment from this 4 hourly hasn't really changed. If you put the trend line across the highs there, well, it may just start be challenging it at some point. But I think it's actually got to break through the 34 to start challenging that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Today's news, well, we've got the Bank of Japan, Japanese are on holiday, got a bank holiday. Chinese got a bank holiday. Mid-autumn festivals, Equinox Day for Japanese there. Then we got Draghi speaking at 2 p.m. this afternoon, so that's the due to testify about the economy and monetary policy to the European Parliament. Now, generally, he's done all of that, or most of what's coming out there will be covered, but you just don't know whether he'll create some more volatility. So there you go. Have a great one. Bye for now.